Good afternoon. Good to see all our friends and community members here as we have a very exciting moment for the Fort Wallace Museum and its history, and that's the dedication of the Ruth Jackson Reading Room of the Captain Miles Keogh Research Library. I'll put a little bit of context. I believe, Mike Bond, hasn't this library been talked about for a very long time?
Long time.
Would you say since at least the 60s?
Yes.
Okay, since the 1960s, the establishment of this library has been discussed at length and how to do it. And so several generations of Fort Wallace Memorial Association members have been working on this, collecting materials, collecting books. And so my hat's off kind of to my predecessors. I'm thinking of Edgar Cree, the Brocks. I'm thinking of Mendel Bucher. I'm thinking of Clyde Blackburn. I'm thinking of Mike Bond and all these other previous members who have worked before us. The Fort Wallace Memorial Association is actually almost 100 years old. It's coming up. We're coming up on the 100th anniversary in 1925. And you don't see many private organizations like that are run by volunteers. It's very unique. So now, would you all agree that now is the time to fulfill this dream? To put history front and center, to make a comfortable place for historians to gather, to research, to accumulate material, to protect it by an individual foundation, an individual private foundation, and protect all this history and make it accessible to the public. I'm excited about what could be with this library. We are in the process of joining the Northwest Kansas Library System as a non-lending member, and what some of the resources that could come our way. The future is very bright, but we can't do a lot as a person to affect our country and our society, but we can do it right here in our community, and this is what this library is doing. And I couldn't be prouder of all the efforts of both our board members and all the extended group of volunteers that we work with. If you are a board member, could you please be recognized right now? Just raise your hand or stand and be acknowledged. They might be all outside. I know Lynn and some of them are outside. How about Guardians members? Could you raise your hand? Great. It's because of the efforts of our Guardians that we can raise the money to do these things. So at this point also, with the establishment of this library, it couldn't have been done without some very generous donors. And so we do have a beautiful plaque with the wood plaque that was put together by Carl May. Are you going to show it? Okay. And with engraving done by our friend Jeff Horlicker at Horlicker Jewelers in Colby. And the names on this plaque are the Dane G. Hansen Foundation, My Farms, the Pete Henry Foundation, Don Fisk, Michael Bond, Ron and Shirley Blasey, Wayne and Leisha Carpenter, Henderson Partners Limited, Jeff Horlicker, Jayne and Cecil Pearce, Ab and Jennifer Smith, Mark and Cindy Smith, T-Bar Ranch, James Henderson, Norma Finley, Jason and Lori Unruh, Dwayne and Debbie Frazier, Frank and Judy Goodrich, Dave Harrington, Lynn and Rita Kirkham, Bobby and Susan Kane, Danny Kane, Carl and Jacqueline Mai, Jeremy Montgomery, Ron and Marcia Schilling, Ray P. Smith, Valerie A. Smith, State Line Electric, John and Cindy Voth, Wallace County Rural Firemen's Association, and Casey and Lisa White. Did I leave anybody off?
Yeah.
Yes, I said Bobby and Susan. Yep, sure did. So can everyone please give a round of applause to these wonderful donors who have made this project possible. We do have representatives of the Dane Hansen Foundation, Brian and Lynette Stockman back there. Thank you so much for all your work to bring so many riches to Wallace County and our area. Thank you very much. So, thank you, donors. The funds are one part, but then you have volunteers and people that work on this. If you volunteered to work on this library at all, could you please raise your hand and stand so we can see you? Stand up, please. Very good. Could you give these donors a round of applause? These volunteers. But I would like for Mark and Jason to come up, please. They saw this project through from the beginning to the end with a lot of dedication and a lot of heart. We're going to talk a minute, but we lost our dear friend Danny Kane on August 19th in the middle of the project, and it was Mark and Jason seeing it through that were able to bring it to completion. So on behalf of the Fort Wallace Memorial Association, I want to thank you very much for making this project possible.
Thank you.
Mark, thank you so much for all your work and all your dedication. Appreciate it. Give these gentlemen a round of applause. Danny was Jason's best friend as well as relation. So it's for him to step up and do this was a real gift. And then I would also like to recognize the builders. And Bobby and any family members, could you please come up? I was really looking forward to bragging on Danny. Wait just a sec. I got to know him really well and came to admire him both as a man and as a skilled craftsman, and just everything. We'd just laugh, and then sometimes he'd say something, and I'd say, "Well, you're right. You're completely right. I think we need to go this direction on this project." It was a real, true collaboration. There was no one boss. We all worked together to find the solution to the problems, and Danny was working really hard to get this completed for this dedication. And we are remembering him in a very big way today. And this is his design, and you can hear from the talk from the other builders, Danny left just enough clues that they were able to figure it out and bring his vision into life. So it's really special in a lot of ways. I think you guys said it was just enough clues to get it figured out. So that's a God thing. So we'll give God some glory in that too. So I think it's only appropriate. I was going to tell Danny how much I appreciated him as a carpenter and now as a friend, and I was going to give him a gold coin. So Bobby, I would like to give you Danny's gold coin. On behalf of the Fort Wallace Memorial Association, I'd like to thank you. Bobby was living in Hawaii when he got word that his father had passed. And they got on the plane with his family and came home and had his family time and helped bury his father. And the next day he was up here and started to work. I'm pretty sure he's put in some 18, 20-hour days. I'm not sure, but I think he has, to get this project over the finish line for his father. And it's an absolutely gorgeous job. You're a beautiful craftsman, you're a really nice man, and it's our pleasure to get to know you. So on behalf, I'd like to present Bobby with his own gold coin. On behalf of the Fort Wallace Memorial Association, Bobby, thank you for doing such a wonderful job at getting this completed. Thank you. So we have one more thing, and we want to add a plaque to the wall. And this plaque, it shows Bobby and Danny in almost the same spot in the library. And it just simply worded, it just says, in memory of Danny Kane, December 12th, 1954 to August 19th, 2021, and in honor of Bobby Kane, who created our research library. So we want you to hang it up. Thank you so much, Canes, for this beautiful construction work, and to your whole family for supporting you. So,
Yeah, sure. I have a few things to say, I guess. I just want to say that I am proud to be a part of this, to bring it to completion what Dad started. It's unfortunate what occurred, but we know that some of his legacy and some of his craftsmanship will live on in this library, among other things. He was a good carpenter. He enjoyed his work. He really was passionate about this project in particular. And he told me many times over the phone about it and what he was doing. And I know he would be honored, and I know he would be very proud. And I am honored and proud as well to have been a part of it. And I just hope that everybody here really appreciates his work. And thank you, Jayne and Mark, for everything, helping me out to bring it to completion.
great. Thanks again. Okay, the Kane family. We've talked about the physical and how all this came together. Now let's talk about the reasons why. Why are we doing this research library? How will it be used? And who it honors. So I'd like to introduce Mr. D.K. Clark, Lieutenant Colonel, Army retired, and our esteemed friend and historian. He's going to tell you more.
I think about 1992, come back recently from Desert Storm, went to Beecher Island. In about 8 seconds, I realized Beecher Island State Park ain't it. It's somewhere else. It started a legacy, and the folks that know me, I have a hobby of collecting books. Ask my wife, she would emphasize that. But so it started, and so for the last 30 years, I've been acquiring many first edition signed books. Most of them either having to do with Little Bighorn, because I was on the board of directors of Little Bighorn, and Beecher Island. And it was some years later I met Jayne and Deb Good. I've known Deb Goodrich for 200 years, I think. But got me out here. So why now with this vast library? I'm in my 70s. And so what would happen with my books? And it only took about one time to walk out that door and realize 2 miles right over there is Fort Wallace. And Mark Smith took me down and showed me where Pine Creek was. And I had a vision that I would like to bring my library here as they apply to the events that happened right around where we're sitting. Many of them are one of a kind. Many of them are very few. And so the University of Oklahoma knows what's in my collection. The North Dakota Historical Society up in Bismarck knows what's in my collection, and several others. So in agreement with Jayne, we will donate my library those books that are applicable with this intent. They are not loaned out. If you're doing a dissertation at the University of Oklahoma and you need my book, you come see Jayne and the people in this building, and you stay at the Roadhouse, and you go over and have the best coffee and cinnamon roll over here at the Memory Bank. And if the Roadhouse is full, then you go to the bed and breakfast at Mount Sunflower. You come here, and you do what I did. You do your study here at this, you walk out there, and you see what the prairie is, and if you step right out here, if you can't hear the gunfire, if you can't smell the smoke, you shouldn't be doing that dissertation. This is the right place, and this has become family, it's become home for me, and this is the right place for my books. So I'd like to now introduce, may I? One of the guys I also spent time researching, because he commanded here and delivered a paper last year or year before about Miles Kehoe, even visited his home place in Ireland. And so Miles Kehoe has a part in this and the interest here, so I'd like to introduce to you, for the namesake, Miles Kehoe, my friend.
Thank you very much, DK. Appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Captain Miles Kehoe. I did command here for about 10 months. And to me, getting the call to come back to Fort Wallace is like coming home again. I love it out here. The people are so wonderful. And of course, I can only spend a few days, but leaving is very, very difficult for me. But I'm truly honored to be here and to help commemorate this research library named in my honor for the small role I played. While I was here as commander of Fort Wallace, I did commission the very first library at the post. And that was because I did believe very firmly in education as the foundation of well, I would like to see, we didn't have too many children at the post, but the young troopers and whatnot, and even the officers, we spent many, many long hours with nothing to do. Outside of training, there's nothing to do. There's very little to do to entertain yourself other than playing cards. But reading has always been a passion of mine. So it's very, very important, and to this very day, I think that it should form the foundation of all of our education, from the young right up through to adults. To this day, I don't go anywhere today without a book. And before I forget, I wanted to mention that I do have a copy. I did not bring it with me, unfortunately. I've been stationed in New York City for the last few years, and it took me a while to take the Union Pacific all the way out here at Fort Wallace. But back home, I have a copy of my very favorite novel that I read when I was a young lad, and it was called Charles O'Malley, The Life of an Irish Dragoon. And it was my blueprint for what I would later become an officer in the United States 7th Cavalry. So I'm going to donate that book. It's very hard to find. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to donate it to this library. And I'll be, as soon as I get back to New York, I'll be sending it out here via the, not the Pony Express, but
the stagecoach.
yeah, the stagecoach, yes, the Overland stagecoach. Absolutely. In any case, it was wonderful. Out here, I don't know if you've seen, we have W.W. Cook walking the grounds, the guy with the big forked beard, member of the 7th Cavalry. We have California Joe, who's been walking around, a wonderful scout. I haven't seen Will Comstock. I don't know where he is. And Ed Guerrera, Edmund, I can never pronounce this guy's name. He's a wonderful Indian scout. DK, how do you pronounce his name? Where is he?
Comstock?
Edmund, I want to say
Gallia.
Edmund Guerrera. A wonderful scout. I haven't seen him about, but he was a very good friend. And am I leaving anybody out? Atkins.
Stillwell.
Okay. Yeah, Stillwell. All wonderful people. I haven't seen them here, but if you look around, Cook is here and California Joe is here. Two old friends. But I don't want to go on and on. I promised just a few minutes. So thank you very much again for the invitation. I am truly honored, and I do hope this will become a foundation for the future, for all future research of the Old West. Thank you very much, and
Thank you, Captain.
So our reading, the actual body of the library is named for Captain Miles Kehoe. The reading room itself is named for our local historian, Ruth Jackson. And Ruth Jackson was a very well-known educator in this area. If you were educated by Ruth Jackson, can you raise your hand? Yeah. Hey, I just was her friend back there. Yeah, Ruth Jackson was a wonderful. She was an English teacher, but Cecil says she taught a lot more than just English. People were in awe of her for her wide range of knowledge, and she was not only a historian, but she was a writer. She was a painter. This little painting of the pheasant in here is Ruth Jackson's work. That's the featured artwork that's in the research library right now. She was a naturalist. But the one thing that the thing that's really big too, she did a lot with the Memorial Association. She wrote a series of newspapers called The Bugle. They were most ingenious. They were newspapers that were kind of like you were reporting on an incident that had just happened the other day, at the Post, and she wrote it like a contemporary event. Those bugles are still a wonderful resource for us. We use them a lot. She put a lot of work and research into those, and we still, to this day, use them extensively. She was also the main editor of our Wallace County history book. This is our Bible. We refer to it all the time, has the stories of the families. There was another Black history book that she was involved with. The second volume of History of Wallace County, which had a lot more family stories, a lot more business stories. So Ruth affects us every day around here. It was her work was a gift. And so we remember her and what she means to Wallace County by adding her name to our research library. Mike, do you have anything else to add to that?
Well, I had the privilege of working with Ruth when she was editor of the Bugle. I was on her staff in the early 70s, and she was a wonderful lady, very, very well educated, and had a heart of gold. So I think it's very fitting that Ruth be recognized with this reading group. She was a great colleague on the Bugle staff, and she was a fine editor, so thank you.
Who all helped write that bugle besides her?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay.
I know I was on her staff. There's a masthead in there that shows everybody that helped her.
Everything?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
So, we honor Ruth and Captain Miles Keogh. So I guess we now officially dedicate this library to the future use, the sharing of history, to preservation of history, and who knows where it could lead next. So thank you all for coming. The museum is dedicated. Please come and enjoy looking around, look at the beauty in here, and just imagine what the future can hold. Thanks so much to everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. We did go ahead and move our next lectures inside. So here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to pick up chairs, and let's see if we can fill up the rest of that room with some of the chairs. If some of the folding chairs don't work, we'll put them in the rack right here. But if we could pick up more chairs to take in there, and we'll resume with the rest of our lectures.